So this is not a regular, non-dualistic philosophical video. The character Simcha lives inside a story that is very interesting, so the lesson that you can learn from this non-dual reality within the illusion is much greater than any talk that you will hear not on the practical level, because this is the practical level. Welcome to the practical level of non-duality, of what is inside a story that is an illusion but looks very, very bad. So non-dualism, or what this thing is, enlightenment, self-realization, this thing implies and states, and this is what this character says, that nothing ever happens. So how come she is posting videos about her being inside a war and fighting and asking you to join the fight against pure evil? What is this thing if nothing ever happens, if this is not real? Why is she doing that? Simcha always stated that this illusion is inside the actual appearance of the story. This is the illusion. It expresses itself as reality. This is why it is empty, it is nothingness. Even now, everything that happens around her in Israel, all this pure evil she's talking about, the war, I cannot call it war because it started as a massacre, slaughtering of 1,300 people. And if you make the parallel, if it would happen in the United States, it would be 25,000 casualties in a day. So this is what Israel suffers, and it all happened in the most brutal ISIS way. If you can imagine the most horrific things you can just imagine about pregnant women and what happened to them and their baby, or Holocaust survivors, or people being burned alive, entire families slaughtered, executed, burned inside their shelters, tortured, women raped, kidnapped now, hostages, and everything was happening in the most horrific way you can possibly imagine. So the story became a horror movie inside the reality. So, of course, there is no difference in this thing's state of mind, because the story is changed. This was the story, it was a story about peaceful existence, because Israel was never very peaceful, but it was tolerable, and this thing. But the character is different from the essence. The essence is the same. It's the same quietness, it's the same emptiness. Nothing ever happens to this thing. We must understand the difference and why the character reacts inside this illusion as she does. And she does. The character Simcha is a character of a woman who lives in Israel. She's an Israeli and a Jew. And her people, and maybe I'll make a video about that, have suffered throughout the generations. We know this is in our history, and when we talk about this massacre, we compare it to other massacres, how horrible it is, and it is one of the, apart from the Holocaust, one of the worst things that ever happened to the Jewish people, but we have many references throughout the years. So this is the character. She was born into this, and she was raised, and this is all her storage of memories and identity. So this is the character inside the story, and this is her country, and these are her people, and this is her family, and this is her army. This is what she is. And Simcha always says, you must act inside your reality, your immediate surroundings. You must help the immediate surroundings, not to try and find where is it that I belong. Try first looking at what you are designed or planned to be. So the character inside the story, and also Simcha stated it a lot of times, must react to the illusion as if it was real, as if death is something that is happening around her. This is the great paradox. If you want to go deeper into that, look in my video that is called Paradox, where I explain why the character is acting as if it was real when the essence knows it's not. Because if nothing ever happens, she can do nothing. But it is her obligation to act as forcefully as she can, with all her might, to try to change the visible reality in which she is acting. She must do that. The character. And nothing can ever touch this pure thing and emptiness. The essence cannot be in any way approached or influenced. And it's not happening now with the character. This is the first time I'm speaking in this manner, because in my Simcha's immediate surroundings, you cannot speak these truths, because first, not many people are aware of the natural state, and second, it is too dismissive of the pain of the unrealistic character. When the character Simcha, before this terrible thing has happened and everything in this state of Israel was shattered, she was acting rationally as a character, not as the essence that it is. She was always acting as a character, because the essence is always pure joy and bliss and ecstasy, and it hasn't changed. This is it. But when you come to see someone who is sick, you will not act as if you don't notice their pain and try to relieve the pain. You will act in the same energy. You will bring the high energy, but you will not act silly. I can act, Simcha acts silly in parties and around drunk or people on, psychedelics. She can easily communicate with them. In these circumstances, where it's okay to just do that. But when you are inside a reality, and she has always done that, because it's the natural thing to do for a character, she always adapted to the surroundings and reacted in a rational way, which will help her surroundings. This philosophy is not meant to be forced on people in their time of need. There are no people, she knows that. She knows that there are no people, there is no country, nothing ever happened. But in their concept and their perception, things are happening, so she cannot ignore the pain. They don't know that they don't exist. They don't know that. They can't grasp what is really going on. They can't. You can't. You want to, but you can't. You try to, but you can't, because you try in the philosophical level. But this is the practical level. They cannot understand that. It won't do them any good to tell them this truth now. Now, what will do the best impact is to rationally respond and function, be useful. And this is what the character Simcha is doing in the last week. She's trying to be useful, and she is being useful, because there are soldiers that are practicing inside the kibbutz, many, and the kibbutz is helping to host them, and Simcha became like their mother, I'm there all the time. I hug them and I listen to them and I encourage them, and if they need something to be fixed or brought, I take care of it. And this is the natural place for me, because Simcha has a big smile and a good attitude, and they feel that, and this is what her role as a character should do, and she's doing that. It won't do anyone any good if she will try lecturing them about the nature of reality. What good will it do now? The nature of reality is what is happening. This is what is. This is the expression. And if this is what is happening in Israel, this is exactly what is supposed to be happening in Israel to all the people. And let me tell you something. It is an amazing thing to witness as this thing, the expression. Because Simcha always talked about reaching the full potential of things. Becoming what you are, the best version you can be. And Israel is becoming the best version it can be through this crisis, through this. Why? Because she has to evolve and change and find who she is. The country. So the country, like the persons, it has a personality. It's a nation, and the nation itself grows and discovers amazing things. First, that we are one. All the lecturers, you can hear countless people saying, we are one, we are one. This is oneness. But when you do that, like when you actually do that, we are one in the same situation. We must act harmoniously together and do something together so beautiful that will help us. We must help ourselves, so we become united and one, so the nation becomes one. We had terrible political differences, terrible, through the nation was torn, but now everyone is saying maybe this happened to bring us back together, because everywhere I look, people are hugging. People are trying to donate their time. They are fighting who will give more, who will do more. If someone is not doing anything, he feels like a lion inside the cage. Let me do something. If I'm a soldier, let me fight. If I drive people, I will volunteer. If I work with elderly, I will recruit many people and take care of them. I will do whatever. If I have a flower business, I will send to the ones who need, and to the survivors. Many people, they want to help the survivors of these two kibbutzes. So we become one, as we were always meant to be, the nation of Israel. And this is something so traumatic, this is a lesson so bitter, that we will not, I believe that this nation will never be the same again. Bitter lesson to all of us, everyone. It's a very small country, and everyone knows someone who was either murdered or slaughtered or killed or kidnapped. Everyone. My son was supposed to be in 2 funerals today of his high school friends. Everyone I talk to has someone. This is so close. We are like small family. Mommy. Even the Arabs inside the country, because even the Arabs inside the country, because Israel is a state in which Arabs live peacefully within the communities. They share our tragedy and they want to help, and they say they are one of us. This oneness is so horribly being formed by terrible fire, but it is happening. זהו? בוא. This is my son, Noach.
Hey.
Hey.
I go to my friend, but I didn't know if I really go him or this all
Illusion.
and I don't know what, but I don't so care. Life your life if you live.
Thank you, Noach. He said, live your life. תודה על העצה. He's a very practiced boy. He can run to a shelter if he'll need to. He knows that terrorists can. And what happened in two kibbutzes, just like the place I live, is a small village, like a small village with 400 people, something like that, very peaceful, lots of grass and trees, small communities, little children, and they just, like 500 Hamas people got inside it with RPGs and weapons and just, you can look at the videos if you have the stomach for it, but Noach knows that he's safe now. You know, we have like people who are patrolling all the time, everyone enlisted. Simcha lives in a kibbutz, which is a small village, like 400, 500 people, and these were exactly the places who were attacked in this barbaric, brutal, savage attack of a mob. This is not a war because war you fight against in the army. This was a mob that came inside peaceful places like this kibbutz, the grass, the birds, small children, and they just like 400, 500 terrorist mob got inside this place and performed atrocities. And this could have happened to the character if she lived not 40 kilometers from Gaza, just a little closer. Simcha always talked about reaching the full potential of the character. What has happened in Israel is now, and happening right now, is reaching the full potential. This is a process of evolution and on speed. It's an evolution that is forced on this nation because we must reach our full potential, because evil has shown us his full ability to do the most gruesome atrocities possible, imaginable. So the scale is like opposite. You were attacked so viciously, and so the reaction is the exact opposite. And there are many, many expressions now of beauty, unimaginable beauty of the nation of Israel. We are now telling amazing stories. Israel is telling the most amazing stories now. The deepest stories, the saddest stories, the most heroic stories. It happens because it can. Because in face of such unimaginable tragedy, the stories that align. It's the same. They have the same essence. Because, like, if you tell heroic stories, you can tell stories about the bravery of the mothers who tried to defend their children against terrorists. You can talk about the heroism of soldiers who were on vacation and came back and tried to help their kibbutz and were murdered fighting the terrorists. You can talk about it seems like it came from a Hollywood movie, and a commander, an older person who has many experience in fighting terrorists in his service. He heard that his granddaughters and his daughter and son-in-law are being held hostage inside the kibbutz, and he just drove there. And it was in the middle of this slaughtering process inside the kibbutz, and he just got in, just like in the movies, like Bruce Willis, he got inside a small car with his gun because he's so trained. He managed to pull them out, his granddaughters and his son and his daughter-in-law, and took them out and fought these terrorists and put them in a safe place. And then he found 4 soldiers like him that are very trained, got inside the kibbutz and cleaned the kibbutz from terrorists. He just, like, an beautiful movie. Like, if you would see that in television, you would not believe this bravery. But this is also a movie. This is also not real. This is what oneness is showing us. Like you see in the movie and you understand, oh, this man is brave. So this is the exact process. Oh, this man is showing us what true bravery is, what it means to stay focused in such a crisis, what it means to reach your full potential and help others. It's so beautiful, and it's one of so many stories. I cannot start to tell them about heroic things and sad things. Okay, let's start. So many sad stories. The people who were in a party, it was a nature party, I don't know how to say that. And they had a big, giant Buddha statue. They were young, beautifully, they were painted. They took psychedelics and they danced. And the terrorists knew that. And they just surrounded them and waited for the right moment and just ran into them, started slaughtering them, and they killed them in the most horrible ways possible. They kidnapped them, they raped the beautiful, beautiful dancing girls, they took them hostage, the lucky ones. They burned places where these beautiful people were hiding, just people who wanted to dance. And it's the circles of all the people who knows all these people in Israel, because it's such a small country, everyone knows everyone, and they know what their loved ones went through, and this scars their lives forever. And there's a mutual collective word about these hostages. Israel, if it had one soldier hostage by Hamas 10 years ago, and Israel paid 1,000 terrorists to free this soldier because Israel is valuing the life of people. And now Israel is just, what we will do, we have 160 people held by them. God knows what they are doing to them. So many sad stories. I cannot start to begin and describe them. And if you have the stomach for it, search and see these moments from the party where they run and they hide. The people, the beautiful picture of 2 people, a couple, kissing inside a bush when they are hiding from the terrorists. They just decided that they will show love in their last moments. And this thing could not have happened if they were not facing 100 terrorists who are trying to kill them, and they had to hide inside the bush and show their life to one another and reach their full potential, and the full potential of showing the world, entire world, what love is and what is important, and who are the good guys and who are the bad guys. And don't be confused, please. Please, I know that there is a great discussion about the Palestinians and their rights, but these are not Palestinians. This is a mob. A mob. They are not Muslims, because Muslim people will not and never kill children. 40 babies were slaughtered in these kibbutzes. 40 babies shot and even decapitated in front of their mothers. This is the nature of the people who did these atrocities. This is not war. There are no Palestinians here. They did not do that to free Palestine. They did that to kill Jews. This is their war's sole purpose: revenge, anger, hatred. And barbarism. I cannot imagine these are people. And also, and don't be mistaken also, please, they are not real, these barbaric people. They are not real, just as their victims were not real. This is all a story. These people, like Hitler, are part of this oneness. There is nothing other than this emptiness and this oneness. Nothing can live outside it. There can be no evil thing that attacks these good things. It's inside. But they have a purpose in the story, and they do their task, and they won't reach heaven or hell because there are not persons, individual persons who did that. There are only tools inside this oneness to tell the story. It doesn't mean that in the story you must not defend yourself from them. It would not be logical if you see a movie and you see the bad guys running to you and you just say, okay, it's not really we're in a movie, and then they will slaughter the character. It's much more rational for the good guys to fight the bad guys, and this is what is happening right now in the story. And this is so logical, so Simcha does that. As a character, she does what she can to fight this evil thing inside the story. Imagine a Marvel movie. The bad character, the evil thing is always trying to annihilate the good, and the good always fights it. And there is a scene right towards the end of the movie when it seems like this evil is under control or neutralized. This was the state of Israel. She felt these enemies around her are neutralized in some way, and she's secure. And just when you think the movie is going to end happily ever after, this Marvel villain rises and is 10 times more powerful and vicious and cruel, and he attacks and he gives this hero this amazing blow, and the hero seems like from this thing he cannot rise. It's too terrible. But he does, and he rises and he fights against this villain and he wins. And this Allnothingness, oneness, is a Marvel movie because the good guys always win, because this is compassion. And you know what? We are directing this movie. We are the directors. So this is the nature of what is, and this is the nature of what will be. I don't know how the story will unfold, because I'm not a fortune teller. And I never wanted to say and declare that I can see inside the future. There is no future to see. I see only the moment and this entire expression. But it can evolve. Pure evil can appear anywhere. You are safe now in your countries, but you can never know how this story will affect the world, because this win, Israel's triumph over this thing, will be the world's triumph over pure evil. Israel and the Jews have always suffered throughout the ages so many things, and they were chosen to be a light to the other nations. And this light is burning the Jewish people, but they do that. We are burned, but we show the world. And Israel's triumph will be the triumph of the world. So the world entire, anyone who is interested in seeing the movie with this ending, and he will, must join now the fight and know who are the good guys, who are the bad guys, and what should we do now in face of danger. Israel has enemies on the north border, so this is Hezbollah. They are vicious, and Iran gave them so many weapons and missiles and everything. So there is great uncertainty. Hezbollah said, if you will do something, Israel, if you will attack too much this Gaza Strip, they will join the fight. And so we don't know. Israel doesn't know. So this is the story right now. And this is what is supposed to be happening in the story. The character, Simcha, knows what to do. The essence is not influenced, but the character acts according to what is happening. The character itself, Simcha, has a daughter inside the army. She's not in a dangerous place, but she's so busy, and and she is experiencing her daughter reaching of her full potential as a person to influence something so important. It's so important. It's utmost importance. It's our lives. It's everyone's lives. So everything is so raw and alive and painful and moving. And I can say that to you because you speak English and you live far away. And I cannot say that to Israelis. And when I'll make the movie in Hebrew, the video in Hebrew, I will not repeat this thing in this phrasing. But this is what was meant to be, to allow the character to show her true potential. Something like this should have happened, and this is why it did. It's not that evil has a purpose or a meaning of its own or existence. It is a tool inside the story, and it is a painful tool inside the story, but it's only a tool. And then you should see for your own eyes what it is doing to the people of Israel. The solidarity, this thing is showing its brightest, its luminous colors. People are hugging constantly. People try to help one another. We are hosting soldiers, so people are taking them to their houses to shower and giving them food. And I found the most it is like something you cannot believe is happening, like a dream, that the soldiers are sitting inside my living room and playing the piano with my daughter and singing together. And everything is together. We share the destiny. We discover that everything is so loving. Israel is so loving. The people are brothers, and the Arab of Israel, because there are many Arabs who live inside Israel in the communities, very peacefully, neighbors, and they declared their unwavering support to us, and they said that they are Israel's brothers. So this oneness, this country is uniting so beautifully and sadly inside this tragedy. And this tragedy had to happen for it to happen, to evolve, to show these stories, these countless stories. And we must endure it and do it and be the best versions of. Like Simcha said, it is recommended to be the best version of yourself. So now people are forced to do that. And they discover it's a good thing for them. They have to do that because this is their lives, or being the good version of themselves. So they do that. They rise to the occasion. And they help. They give. These are so sad circumstances. But this thing is not philosophy, and Simcha always said that. It's not a philosophy. This is practical living. This is how we live. This is oneness in action. Mutual existence of oneness appears in a synchronized way, in a harmonious way of giving itself. And this is what is happening now through the tragedy. So the character Simcha found this time in its crazy days to send you a big hug, because she hugs everyone who is around her. She's smiling constantly to them. She's not saying, oh, it will be okay. No, everything will be okay, because we don't know, and she cannot guarantee it. Because she met some soldier yesterday, and he said, my whole world was shattered. Everything I knew about myself and the world, I don't know. And I feel like I lost control. And she said, Simcha said, you were never in control. Just look, now we are drinking coffee together here. Look, the grass is green. This is what we are doing now. You never had control. So see what happens, and just set yourself free from this responsibility and do the best you can. This is enough. And everything that will come your way, you will cope with it the best you can. And this is what will be. This is what we can all do. And this is what we do. This is so, so beautiful. So sad. So sad. Thank you for your love through the comments. This is like your way of fighting with Simcha, the battle of all that is good against pure evil. Thank you, especially dear Neil and Rolando and Nate, for your unwavering, loving support. This is the story, this is the realization. Nothing ever happens, even this. It is not happening, it is a story. This thing, this understanding is never contaminated or touched or influenced. There is only peace. This is what has been and always will be. But in the illusion, this is the time to act.